First of all, this is like the same angle I used to make YouTube videos at when I was a little kid in like middle school when I used to make YouTube videos. I'm also looking at the picture of me, not at the camera. So I'm doing great. I'm using my laptop camera because I'm too lazy to use my phone that has better camera qualities. Showing my books for the reading rush. That is what I'm doing. So the reading challenges. So number one is read a book with a cover that matches the color of your birthstone. So I'm born in January. My birthday is January 20th. So my birthstone is a garnet, and that is red. So the book I chose for that is A Bindle Brief, Love and Longing in New York by Leanna Fink. I've already read this book, but it was like 2 years ago, so it's been a while. This is a graphic novel. This is not a good example. Here, see. It's a graphic novel about, like, when Jewish immigrants were first coming to New York City, they had all these new questions because a new culture was emerging and, like, people had to learn how to live in America. So there was a, like, Dear Abby kind of column called A Bindle Brief, and this graphic novel goes through, like, a lot of the stories people asked. Fun fact, though, a lot of the stories that were written in, that were answered in, like, the column were fake because a lot of people were too shy to write, but the writer, who was a Jewish immigrant, knew what the problems were that people were experiencing. Write, like, fake problems, you know? But, like, they were real issues that people were having, but it was, like, it would be, like, what do I do with this wedding gift? Or, like, how do we observe this tradition now that we're in a new country? This is garnet because it's red. So the next one is read a book that starts with the word the. And for that one, I'm reading a poetry book called The Last Time We Are by Taylor Molly. So I met Taylor Molly. I was in my sophomore year of high school, and I'm now going into my sophomore year of college. So that was 4 years ago. I've never read it. I bought it at Barnes & Noble. Is it signed by him? It is not. Oh, wow. He didn't sign my book. Rude. Basically, I met him for an English class thing. We got to see him perform at a Barnes & Noble near us. I have a picture with him somewhere on my computer. Maybe I'll insert it. Maybe I won't. Editing now. We'll see what you fucking do. So this starts with the word the. Pretty self-explanatory. It's a poetry collection. I don't know if it has any running themes. I don't know anything about it. So the next one is number 3, and it's read a book that inspired a movie you've already seen. This one was really, really hard for me because I feel like I read books and then I watch the movies, and so my first thought was, oh, I have some of the Princess Diary books. I probably have the first Princess Diary book. Turns out I don't, because everyone's seen the Princess Diary movies, but I've never read the book. Turns out I own, like, every other book in the series besides the first one, which is the Princess Diaries. So that was really annoying. So then I was like, oh no, what will I do? And then I was looking at my bookshelves and I was like, wait, is that Ella Enchanted? And I've seen Ella Enchanted lots of times, but I've never read it. So here we are, folks. Ella Enchanted. My copy is really beat up because it was a hand-me-down from, like, my family friend. It says Jamie T on it. The cover is, like, taped on. I think my Princess Diary books were also hand-me-downs from this person, but they're in much better condition. This one really is dead. But I've never read Ella Enchanted, and it's really funny because Anne Hathaway is the actress in the Princess Diaries, and she's the actress in Ella Enchanted, so I'm still reading, like, an Anne Hathaway book, which I think is really funny. I feel like I should have read it at some point during middle school, and I just never did. If you've read it, comment down below. Professional YouTuber. So the next challenge is to read a book completely outside your house, and I'm gonna pick the shortest book. The shortest book is probably the poetry book, so I'll probably do this one, but I mean, A Bindle Brief, because it's a graphic novel, is probably also really easy to go through, so I don't really know what book I'm doing for that yet, but you know, it'll be one of them. I'll make a wrap-up video maybe, where, like, I talk about which one I read outside, or I'll do, like, video updates maybe? That could be cute and quirky, you know? The way I'm gonna read outside is there are a lot of parks where I live. I live in a pretty suburban area, like, kind of the definition of the suburbs, or I could read outside. We have a deck in my house, and we have a front porch, so I could read there. I have a lot of options. So I just accidentally knocked my mic over, so the sound might sound slightly different now. Like, I fixed the mic, it might be in a different spot slightly, and I don't know if that will affect the sound at all. Probably won't. The next challenge category thing is read a book in a genre that you've always wanted to read more of, which for this one, I'm choosing the graphic novel, A Bindle Brief, that I already explained, aforementioned. I don't read that many graphic novels. I feel like this is kind of cheating because I've already already read this one, and it's like read the one you'd want to read more of. But I don't think I own any graphic novels that I haven't read, so yike. I want to read more poetry, so I guess this one could also count, my poetry book. Not my poetry book, because like I want to read more poetry. Plus, I haven't read this one, so it doesn't feel like cheating. So the last challenge is read a book that takes different place than a continent you live. And I have a secret book that I haven't spoken about yet, and the secret book is Ronit and Janil. I think it's in verse. It is in verse. Ooh. It's about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and it's an adaptation of Romeo and Juliet. The author is Pamela L. Laskin, which does not sound like a Jewish name / Israeli name or a Palestinian name. And I don't want to like judge, but I also kind of like don't trust someone who doesn't like have skin in the game for the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Oh god, this is gonna get hate comments because I'm bringing up this. Oh, we love it. I'm a little wary of how this book's gonna go as a Romeo and Juliet adaptation of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, especially because this person does not seem to be Jewish or Israeli or Palestinian. I could be totally wrong. This author could be all three for all we know. Yeah, I'm excited for this one. I think because it's in verse, it will go pretty fast. The font is pretty big. I bought this years ago. I've been to Israel, and I think I bought this before I went to Israel, which is when I was 16. So it was 3 years ago. It was literally 3 years ago because I went during the summer. I'm finally getting around to reading it. Obviously, the Middle East is not in North America, different continent. The Middle East is not a continent, but it's Asia. Asia is a different continent than the US. The US is not a continent. Asia is a different continent than North America. Also, I haven't really read any books in verse. This is kind of also a genre I haven't read that much of. I am really killing it in the genre I haven't read that much of game. To review, these are the 4 books I'm reading. Oh god, the cover almost fell off of this one. Oh, did I skip one? Okay, I did skip one. I skipped it on purpose. I skipped number 4, the first book you touch, because I didn't really know what to do for that. I know they were like, you could spin around and like touch a book or whatever, but I picked these books very particularly. So what I've decided what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna close my eyes and pick which book I'm gonna read first. So I just closed my eyes and picked one out of the books that I'm reading for the book that I'm gonna read first, and I landed on Ella Enchanted, which I think is the longest book out of all the books I'm reading. I mean, the font is pretty big, because it's like a middle grade book, but not the one I wanted to get. I wanted to get one of the shorter ones so I could fly through it, be the first read. But all this one means that I'm starting it first, like I could read other books at the same time, so I'm kind of fine with that. This was my reading rush video. I still think it's really weird that it's called the reading rush since I grew up with it called Booktubeathon, but the reading rush is a lot less embarrassingly named than Booktubeathon, so don't hate it. I'll put my socials in the description, doobly-doo, the pants if you will, the towel section. I'm referencing a bunch of what different YouTubers call the description, if you didn't get that. Thanks for watching. I'm Nellodrama, like melodrama, by Lloyd on Twitter, and I also have a podcast that I've only done like 1 episode for, but I'm gonna do another soon. The podcast called Jewish Geography. I'll just link all the things in the description. Thanks, Kay. Love you, bye. I remember when I was in middle school, and I did when it was still called Booktubeathon.